Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tech and Beer. I'm Calvino, and today I'm at Spindrift Brewing Company in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. And Spindrift Brewing do a lot of cool things with technology to help them in their business, which we're going to learn about. And they also do something which is make a lot of great beers. And we're going to talk today with Andy Armstrong. Andy is the general manager, co-owner. Did I get the title right?
You did. Welcome to Spindrift.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for finding us in the depths of Burnside down here. Yeah.
Excellent. So tell me about Spindrift. You've been here a little while now.
Spindrift, we are in our third full summer of operation. Wow. So the brewery actually broke ground in February of 2015.
Okay.
We brewed our first beer in August of same year. It hit the NSLC shelves in September, and here we are today, 2 years later.
Awesome.
We now market 5 different brands at the NSLC and have on the rail here at any time up to 8 beers.
8? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Spindrift, it's a really unusual name. Where's the name come from?
You know, it is very unique. One of the guys that was very instrumental in setting up the brewery is a gentleman by the name of Rob Green. And Robbie is an ex-Navy captain.
Okay.
So very familiar with nautical terms and all those sorts of things. And he woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and said, Spindrift. And he texted my business partner, Andrew, and myself and said, I have the name for the brewery, Spindrift. And of course, we just write back and, you know, what the is Spindrift?
Yeah.
And so if you picture a wave, especially a surfing wave, as it crashes, there's a mist that goes backwards, actually in the opposite direction off of that. That is, in fact, Spindrift.
Oh, okay.
And so very nautical, very fresh, very aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, very reminiscent of who we wanted to be as a maritime brewer. So that's the name of the brewery, Spindrift.
Excellent. Fantastic name. It's always good when you have something like that you can tie into the branding and gives people something else to buy into as well, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So what kinds of beers do you make here?
We are a lager-focused brewery.
Okay.
So for the first full 2 years, Spindrift made nothing but lagers.
Okay.
Which is very unique in the craft beer business because the amount of time that it takes to make a lager.
Right.
Lagers are cold fermented, therefore it takes longer for the fermentation process, and then they have to lager after the time.
Yeah.
Lager means in Latin to lay down.
Okay.
So our beers lay down for about 30 days from brew to package. An ale, you can do that in less than half that amount of time. So we stuck our necks out and said we wanted to differentiate ourselves and focus on lager beers. And the first one we put out was a Marzen beer, which is coastal lager.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I've heard of and seen in the local liquor stores.
Yep.
That's very good. Excellent.
Yeah.
So you said for the first 2 years you were just lagers. So do you make some ales now as well?
We are now this summer season dipping our toes into the ale arena, and we are going to try one here today. We are launching a brand called Hurricane, which is our first IPA, India Pale Ale. And you'll meet Kyle later on, and Kyle made us one heck of a beer.
Right.
And it is a West Coast style, so it's got some pininess to it on the nose and some fresh hops there, and then some stone fruit in the mid palate and whatnot, and a nice crisp bitter finish to it.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Yeah, so Kyle, you mentioned Kyle there. Kyle's the brewmaster. He's the guy that controls the recipes and
he's
the
the one
production.
walking anxiously around over there, yeah.
We'll get to you later, Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle is our brewmaster, and I'm not just saying this because he's in the room. We're very fortunate to have him. He's a very gifted brewer.
Excellent.
Very well educated, very passionate about it, knows his stuff, and I'm sure, you know, for your audience will add a lot more than I certainly will on the technology side of the business, for sure. Well,
one of the things that we're learning as we go through this series, talking to different people from different industries, is technology is disrupting different industries in different ways, and it's allowing businesses to grow.
Yeah.
And you know, with microbrews, you know, we see a lot of them popping up nowadays, and obviously they're leveraging different tools and technologies that are available to them today.
Yeah.
So look forward to learning about that.
Yeah.
But let's before we get into that, let's look at these beers.
Let's try a few beers. We're going to start off with a brand called Killick.
Okay.
Killick is a Munich Helles style beer.
Okay.
So it would be the equivalent of a German light lager.
Right.
Although in our terms, it's not a light lager. It is absolutely a full stream beer. It's 4.7% alcohol.
Yeah.
It's 30 IBUs, so those are the international bittering units.
Okay.
And a very sessionable beer. And that's what you're going to find out about all of these beers. They're very sessionable. And by that I mean you can consume more than one.
Everybody likes a good session.
Yeah, yeah. So let's Killick.
Okay.
You'll get some citrus notes on it. You'll definitely get a sweeter malt build there. We do use Heidelberg malt in this thing, so it is straight from Germany. In fact, our vat is full of it out there because this is our largest beer.
Really?
It's Spindrift's engine that's pulling the train right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So give it a go.
So that's this one?
Yep.
Okay.
So you get that nice citrus tone to it, the nice sweetness from the malt.
It's light, it's
And
refreshing.
then you do get a little bitterness from the hop, but it finishes off so crisp and clean. It's a little warm. These have been sitting out here for a minute or two.
That's okay.
So that is Killick.
That's Killick. Okay.
And that, draft-wise, is about 85% of our entire volume on tap. For now, that will change with the IPA and with another new brand we've got coming out.
Almost finishes there like a little bit of a glass of white wine, a little dry at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that nice crisp finish and then fades away.
Yeah.
It doesn't linger. It doesn't stay
linger,
there. So yeah, it's the beer. When you go to the liquor store, look for the pink, white, and green buoy. And when you look at our branding in the liquor stores, we talked about Spindrift and its meaning. When we went to graphically do that, it was impossible. You just couldn't do Spindrift justice. So my partner came up with the idea, well, what's more maritime than a lobster buoy?
Right.
So all of our beers to date have lobster buoys. Each of them is individualized. Every fisherman has his own buoy.
Yeah.
This one is, my partner is a Newfoundlander and wanted the colors of the Republican flag.
Perfect.
So it is pink, white, and green.
There you
So
go.
the next beer we're going to go to is Coastal Lager, and its buoy is simply white and blue for Nova Scotia's flags colors. So this was our first beer. It was the one we launched and put Spindrift onto the map. So this is like an Oktoberfest style beer. So you're going to get a little more hop to it, a little more malt build on it. Some nice sweetness, some lemon characteristics there.
Yeah, I really taste the lemon.
Yeah, a little grassiness to it.
Right.
And that is a traditional October Marzen style beer. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's one of our favorites that we make here.
That's
very well balanced. And again, sessionable. It finishes there, like this is, you're up to 60 IBUs in this one, so it finishes very crisp and clean.
Yeah, no, that's the lemon and the undertone. It's almost like an undertone of lemon.
Yeah.
And
and a lager again.
Right.
Lager. So the next one we're going to try is called Abyss. And Abyss is a Schwartz beer, which is a black lager. So you're going to get all of those notes of coffee and chocolate, and I get a little burnt wood out of it. And then it finishes crisp and clean. There's no heaviness to it. I equate this beer to, you could literally cut the grass and come in and have a pint of this beer. And feel refreshed. Whereas if you do that with a stout or you do that with a porter, you're probably going to have 2 sips and be be full at that point.
You're going to pass out.
So
on the
I think this is to date the best beer we make. Is the Abyss.
And what's the color of the buoy for this one?
This buoy is a black buoy.
This is a black.
But I mean, the can is matte black. The buoy is actually cream because the Abyss, that came naturally. The name, the Abyss, very black, very dark. We had to reverse. But the tap handle is definitely the black buoy.
Black is what stands out. Okay.
Nice creaminess. Everything is there.
You
get that chocolate, and it finishes so crisp and clean.
I'd never had a black lager before, I don't think. I mean, I love dark ales. But a black lager, that's new, and it's that's definitely my favorite.
And that's simply the malt build that gives it that color. There are no coffee or chocolate added to that. That is simply the toast on the malt that goes into that. So
all the flavor?
All the flavor
All
comes
the coffee kind of flavor, and that's all from the malt?
All from the malt, 100%.
Just complete. That's fantastic. 100%.
So our next one is us dipping our toes into the ale arena.
Okay.
And this is called Hurricane.
Okay.
And it is an IPA. It is a West Coast style IPA, so you're going to get that pininess out of it. You're going to get a lot of stone fruit in the mid palate. Then it will finish, nice and bitter and crisp and clean again, but there'll be a little more lingering there. This is a wonderful West Coast style IPA. And honestly, there's really not one on the Nova Scotia marketplace brewed by a Nova Scotia brewer. So we're very fortunate to have this beer.
So when you say West Coast, do you mean So last week we had a California style lager.
Yeah.
Would that be similar?
Well, being a California style lager would be more along the Munich Helles side of
Okay.
things. Very light. This is meant to be a very piney, fruity. It's dry hopped, so it's
Okay.
hopped after the boil,
Right.
and heavily hopped, and very characteristically. So it's meant to be a nice, enjoyable IPA.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll get the pine on the
Oh,
nose.
the smell of that is.
Yeah, and you even get some peaches there.
Yeah.
And then on the mid palate, I really get that stone fruit
Right.
and a nice lingering aspect there.
Yeah. Very fruity. Very.
And then you get the bitterness sort of mid palate and on the way back, and then it fades away. Wonderful beer.
And that's your first.
That is our
ale.
first dipping our toes into the
Wow.
ale arena. Yeah.
Well, what a way to start.
Yeah,
That's
launched
fantastic.
it's at the NSLC starting some stores last week, most
Yeah.
stores this week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I mean, there's really something for everybody there. It's in 4 beers you've got a wide
There
range
is.
of different tastes.
There
and,
is, yeah.
One of the problems I find sometimes is you can find beers that taste very similar, but there you've got like a full spectrum
Yeah.
of deliciousness.
Yeah, so people can come in here, they can enjoy
Yeah.
a flight as you and I are doing. We sell flights of beer.
Awesome.
We launch here at the brewery 2 new beers every week. We call it
Okay.
our 7th Wave series, and that's a chance for people to come in. We brew 50 liters of it,
Yeah.
and when it's gone, and they're typically gone by Friday afternoon.
Wow.
And so you got to get in here Thursday at noon to Friday at noon to try and get them.
Yeah.
And they can be anything.
Yeah.
They're our junior brewer having fun. Back
Right.
there. Yeah.
Trying stuff
on our
out.
pilot system. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for letting me taste those. That's anybody who wants to come down and try them, I highly recommend it. Or go to the local NSLC and choose a Spindrift.
Exactly.
Couldn't be better.
Couldn't be.
So let's go and explore the back and meet Kyle and understand how you guys leverage the technology to make these wonderful beers.
Let's go do that.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Hey Kyle, how's it going?
Good. Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
What's your name?
Calvino.
Calvino.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
You too. So this is your second stint at Spindrift, I understand.
It is. Yeah. I was here for the opening and helped build the place, and then went off to work for a few other breweries and gained a little bit more expertise. And now I'm back here.
Back to Nova Scotia. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Went down to Georgia for a few months, and now I'm back. Couldn't stay away. So
Well, that's good to have you back. And I mean, some of those beers that you're responsible for that last ale, I guess. And I mean, that's delicious, man. Well done. That's
thank
what
you
a
very
beer
much.
that is.
We're very excited for that product, and once it hits the NSLC shelves, we're expecting some good feedback. So
You'll get it for sure.
thank you.
So we're interested in the technology that helps you guys run the brewery. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about that? Give us a tour, show us what kind of tools you're using and how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a good, I guess, bit of automation on the packaging and the brewing side. That helps reduce our labor greatly compared to a brewery of our size that doesn't have it. So we're probably going to be pumping out around 4,000 hectoliters this year.
4,000
Yeah, so we have
hectoliters, you said?
hectoliters. So that's
What's a hectoliter?
100 liters.
Wow. Okay.
So that's where we're aiming for, but we have 3 employees in the back right now that do everything from brewing to packaging, filtering and all that stuff. If we didn't have the level of automation or technology behind our beer, then we would probably have to bring in more people, and it'd be more expensive to make our product. So,
Absolutely. So, well, let's go take a look.
Absolutely. So I'll start with the automation on the brewing side of things, and then we'll get into packaging
Absolutely.
after that.
Okay.
So I'll take you up to our brew house. So what we have here is a 20-barrel, 3-vessel DME system.
Okay.
DME's out of PEI. And the automation system or software that we have attached to it is Siemens Braumat Compact.
Okay.
So we have our normal PLC, but in there is the Siemens software, and the compact version of this is for craft breweries, whereas a much, much larger brewery would use just the Siemens Braumat system.
Okay.
So what that allows us to do is we can control everything manually. Opening valves, starting pumps, starting our agitators within the vessels to mix grain or whirlpool, wort, whatever it may be. But what the Siemens Braumat technology goes above and beyond for is we can program all of the steps in brewing into that recipe, or into the system, and very little involvement from the brewer once that's started. So we basically program in the recipe, and the technology takes it through all the steps of brewing without us manually opening every valve, transferring liquid, setting pump speeds, stuff like that.
So you put in the ingredients, and once it knows the recipe, you can almost just hit go and it'll make it? Or?
Yeah, it does take a little bit to program the recipe in, and data collection, I guess knowing how to brew that beer and all the parameters before you actually program it into the PLC.
Yeah.
But after that, we're able to kind of just hit go and I guess watch it, but not have a lot of involvement as you would with a very manual system that doesn't have air actuated valves and the flow meters that we have and stuff like that. So
fantastic. And do you have to be, so from using this on a daily basis, how much of it can you do from your laptop?
Well, there is a computer in that right there. So I have my basic brew sheet, and I'm answering emails and stuff like that on the laptop, but everything is in the PLC that you see above right there. And we control everything from the temperature in our fermentation vessels to the temperature of our packaging vessels, which are bright tanks, to all of our pumps, all of our valves. It's all, we can stand right there and do
control
everything.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Fine. How many man hours would you estimate that it would save, this kind of system?
I would say 3 hours per day, but the more that you brew, the more with multiple vessels like we have with our brew house, there's more opportunity to save time. So the bigger we get, the more we will save time.
The more time you'll save, yeah.
Economy of scale, essentially.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're growing in leaps and bounds by the sounds of it. So
yeah, we're certainly trying. We want to be a very successful brewery. So
absolutely. Excellent.
Yep.
So is there anything like really unique about the way you use the technology right now that's different maybe from another microbrewery?
Well, we definitely have a more, I wouldn't say more involved process than all breweries, but we do lagers, which inherently take more time and have more steps, and there's more manipulation of the process with lagers than ales.
Yeah.
And that again has to be programmed into the technology that we have to get the product that we want. Other than that, this is kind of just the software that DME attaches to this system, and we opted to go with that, and we're just using it to its full advantage.
Sure.
So,
is this the same software that you used in the other breweries that you worked in, or?
No, I've never. The only time I've run into the Braumat Compact is at Spindrift.
Okay.
The only level of, I wouldn't even call it automation, just control that I've run into up until this point is being able to stand at a PLC and open valves and set pump speeds, stuff like that, or open your steam jackets. So you can still stand in one spot, but it's very involved, and I guess clicking open valves, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you can't just press go and let it take you through.
So in that sense, then it's a kind of real competitive advantage that
it is.
Spindrift has.
I think the biggest thing really is that we can start brewing, and then it allows myself and my assistant to multitask in other areas of the brewery. And that's like really where we save in labor, because bringing in brewery labor down the line in the process, that's where it can get expensive. So
makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So how many recipes can you have going at one time? Is it just one recipe, or is it kind of done in cycles?
In brewing, we say that we're doing like a single, a double, or a triple brew.
Okay.
And that just refers to how many brews you're doing in a day.
Okay.
But with multiple vessels, as you see around you right now, we're able to start the second batch while the last batch is near the end of the process.
Yeah.
So right now, for example, Steve, our assistant, has transferred wort into our lauter tun.
Okay.
Our grain into the lauter tun, and I'm finishing up a transfer into the fermenter.
Yeah.
And as soon as that's done, we've timed it so he can immediately start filling the next tank. So
Right.
we're trying to optimize our time as much as possible.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, let's go check out the packing.
absolutely.
See you.
So this is our cask canning line.
The what, sorry?
A cask canning line.
The cask canning line.
Cask
okay.
canning solutions. This isn't above and beyond what any other brewery would have necessarily for their size, but we can certainly pump out a lot of beer, in a short amount of time with this system. So we do 30 cans a minute
Yeah.
of tall boys.
30 cans a minute. That's
Yeah, on average.
Yeah. Okay.
And
24/7?
No. In the summer, it's definitely 5 days a week.
Okay.
But in the winter, it kind of slows down. It just depends on like high season and
Makes
low
sense.
season.
Yeah.
30 cans a minute. We do about a pallet per hour and a half. So that's 11 hectoliters of beer
Right.
in an hour and a half. So
Yeah.
that's basically what we get out of this. PLC control. So our packaging manager can. There's automatic depalletizer here.
Okay.
So, for example, if we didn't have this, there would be a guy on the end of the line taking cans from a pallet and putting them on the conveyor
Moving them
belt.
across.
Another, so we're just looking at multiple jobs saved by having something like that.
Yeah.
And there's sensors to totally control that and push all the cans off the line.
So from a capacity perspective,
Yep.
if you were running at full capacity, how many cans of beer would you be pumping out a day?
We would probably do anywhere from 5 to 6 pallets at once if we were really going
How many beers
hard.
in a pallet?
96 2-4s.
96 2-4s.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a lot of beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as our demand grows, we might outgrow this pretty quickly, but there are
Right.
a lot of modifications you can make. You can double up on seamers and fillers
Yeah.
and stuff like that to, expand with you.
Once it's packaged and completed this process, how long does it stay in your warehouse before it gets shipped out? Does it get shipped out immediately? Or?
In the summer, we try and stockpile a little bit moving into our busy season, but
Right.
for the most part, it's pretty much in the can out the door.
Right.
So, especially craft beer, we usually don't filter, so some of our products are not filtered.
Right.
We definitely don't pasteurize. So to get the product to the consumer as quickly as possible is like a key thing, because we don't have the shelf life that Budweiser does, for example.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with all the technology that you've got here, what are some of your... Security is a big concern for most organizations from a cybersecurity perspective. So
Yep.
what are the concerns and challenges that you have from a technology security perspective?
Honestly, nothing really. These are very independent of like the internet.
Yeah. So they're not connected to anything. They're completely isolated.
We can connect this to the internet, like our brown mat system. So
Yeah.
if DME wanted to make a modification to our software, we would plug in the Ethernet cable, and they could, I guess, for lack of a better term, hack into it from
Right.
their place in PEI and make changes to the software.
Yeah.
But if we unplug that Ethernet cable, we're safe.
Completely isolated.
Yeah.
And there's no USB ports for anyone to come along in a rogue employee to plug something in and do anything nefarious?
No, not with this system. So,
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate the tour. It's nice to meet you. You make some great beer here, and
Thank you.
I look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing what you guys keep on doing.
Absolutely.
So that's it, guys, for Tech and Beer's tour of Spindrift Brewery. Highly encourage you guys to come down and check them out. And if you can't come down, then go to the local NSLC and pick up a couple of cans. See you next time.